Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is March 21st, 2025, and we do have a good news in regards to the construction of the Spotify Camp Nou. Also, more good news because Raphinha, Araujo, Inigo Martinez, and Cubarsi could all be back on time for the match against Osasuna. And finally, it's reported that Barcelona are considering the signing of Givairo Read. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo and we'll begin this video with the news that it looks like one of the main candidates that were supposed to run against Joan Laporta in the 2026 presidential election will be dropping out of the race. Now the person we're talking about is someone who I discussed in previous videos. His name is Jean Camproví Montal. He is the son and the grandson of two Barcelona presidents. He is the leader of that Som Un Clan party and emerged as one of the main contenders to Joan Laporta alongside Víctor Font, someone who we later discovered was actually being supported by Bartomeu and Sandro Rosell, and that immediately raised huge red flags for me. But it seems that Jean Camproví will be withdrawing as a potential candidate to run against Joan Laporta because it looks there's disagreements within the party Som Un Clan on whether it should be Jean Camproví Montal that runs as the face of that party, because they suspect, he's not really doing well with the polls. He's not really doing well amongst the club socios. It seems like he lacks some charisma to connect with the socios. So given that he's doing poorly, Som Un Clan have decided to replace him with someone else. They have not decided who it's going to be yet. So for now, it looks like Jean Camproví Montal will not be the face of Som Un Clan in the elections of 2026. Now, more news because, ladies and gentlemen, we do have good news in regards to the Spotify Camp Nou, because the city of Barcelona have approved construction at the Spotify Camp Nou to be held 24 hours from Tuesday to Friday, and this is only going to be for a few weeks. It's going to stretch from March 25th until April 7th. So during those dates, the construction crews will be able to work 24 hours a day from Tuesday to Friday. This will be kind of like a test, like a trial test, and they're going to see if there's no complaints about noise or light pollution. This period of March 25th until April 7th could be extended even further, which of course will go a long way in accelerating a project that is way behind its deadline. All right, more good news because, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like Cubarsi could be available for the match against Osasuna, or I should say could be well rested for the match against Osasuna. Now, as you know, the Royal Spanish Football Federation, in their genius idea, decided that the match against Osasuna will take place on March 27th as soon as the FIFA international break is over. And while Cubarsi, who was participating with the Spanish national team during his FIFA break, he played the first match against the Netherlands. He only played for around 41 minutes, and then he was subbed out because he received a knock on his right ankle. Luis de la Fuente, who's Spain's national team's coach, declared that the injury was not serious, that was simply a knock, and that Cubarsi could be available for the second match against Netherlands. But it looks like he has been released from the Spanish national team's training camp, and he will return to the city of Barcelona. Now, they are still assuring us that this injury is not serious, that he was simply released from the team as a precaution, which means it's good news because he will have a 1 week rest ahead of that match against Osasuna. And of course, with Inigo Martinez's injury, with Ronald Araujo playing until 1 day before the Osasuna match, it means that the player will be available. And if he is available, that's great news because we do need defenders for that match. Now, speaking of players being available, it's reported that Raphinha and Ronald Araujo could be back on time, and this is a plan that Barcelona are currently working on in conjunction with Real Madrid and Atletico de Madrid. Now, of course, Raphinha is set to play against Argentina with Brazil, and Ronald Araujo is set to play against Bolivia with Uruguay. And it's reported that Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Atletico Madrid are chartering a private jet that would carry all their players that are currently in South America and bring them back to Spain. You know, players like Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo, Valverde, you know, players who are currently in South America as well, and of course including Araujo and Raphinha. And it's reported that this plane would depart out of Buenos Aires and that these players could be back before the Osasuna match. Of course, it won't be that much before, probably like around 24-25 hours before the match. So of course it's all gonna be up to Hansi Flick to decide on whether he'll be using both Raphinha and Araujo for the match against Osasuna, because after all, there's just not enough time to recover. Not to mention, you have to get readjusted to the time difference. The flight itself is exhausting. I don't know what the hell the Royal Spanish Football Federation were thinking. Now, more good news, because, ladies and gentlemen, Inigo Martinez is pushing for a comeback for the match against Osasuna. Now, as you know by now, Inigo Martinez picked up an injury in Barcelona's victory over Atletico Madrid. He hurt his knee. It's not a serious injury, and it's expected that he could be out for 2 to 3 weeks. However, it's reported that Inigo is training and working really hard and pushing for a comeback so he can be fit for that match against Osasuna, because he wants to make himself available for Hansi Flick. Now, the Barcelona medical staff are reporting that Inigo Martinez's injury, again, is minor. He is recovering really well. And of course, it's all going to depend on how the player continues to progress, because after all, we should not be risking a player's health. And I'm sure Flick is not going to want to risk the player's health. But if Inigo is fit by the time Osasuna rolls around, then why not have Inigo and Cubarsi, which are starting 2 center backs? That will be pretty cool. Anyways, speaking of matches, as you know, Barcelona are set to face off against Dortmund in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Barcelona will be playing at home on April 9th against Dortmund at Montjuic. And the police department in the city of Barcelona have declared this match as high risk, because they're anticipating a very high number of Dortmund fans that will travel from Germany to Spain to participate in this match. And as such, this match will have extra layers of security. There's going to be more police present, more security staff present, in order to avoid any kind of conflict, any fights, or any violence erupting between the fans. So if you find yourself in the city of Barcelona and you're going to be watching this match, you know, just be a little bit more extra cautious. All right, now we will end today's video with the news that Barcelona are currently tracking Feyenoord's player, whose name is Givairo Read. Now, Givairo Read is an 18-year-old fullback. He plays as a right back mainly, but he can also play as a left back. He currently has a contract with Feyenoord until 2029. And while Barcelona have been tracking his progress, because he is showing some promise, because as you know, Barcelona are looking to reinforce the left back and the right back positions. And even though they would like more experienced players, given the club's financial situation and financial fair play, they are now considering youthful players who would cost less. And as such, they have identified Givairo Read as a low-cost option to reinforce the fullback positions, given that he can play both as a right back and as a left back. Now, of course, Barcelona are going to have competition for this player, because it's reported that Liverpool are also considering signing him. For now, Barcelona have not made a decision to sign Givairo Read yet. They're still tracking his progress, and then they're going to make a decision on whether to try to sign him during this summer transfer market. Anyways, that is all the news for this video. I did do the podcast earlier today. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure to check it out. I'm also posting a video after this about a big scandal, a criminal case against Joan Laporta, which technically has nothing to do with Barcelona, but it could affect the club. And I'm going to explain to you exactly why. So make sure to check out that video as well. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, peace, Barca.